Hi there and welcome to today's video. On today's video, we're going to talk about the things not to do in Wyoming while you're visiting. It's a great place for visitors, it has tons of stuff to offer, but if you want that safe, great trip, make sure not to do these few things. Let's hop right into it. Thank you. Hey y'all, are you thinking about relocating to Evanston, Wyoming? Well, I got just the thing for you. My team and I have developed the ultimate relocation guide. This guide will save you hours and hours of research, citing a lot of the great top employers, hospitals, and a boatload of other stuff. This is just the thing you need to know and have for relocating to Evanston, Wyoming. And it's 100% free. Free for you. Yeah, that's right. You heard me right. 100% free. It's down in the description. Let me know what you think. Have a great day. First off, let's talk about hiking and camping alone. Wyoming is a huge place with lots of areas to go hiking and camping. It's kind of what we're known for. But if you're alone and you're back in the wilderness and something happens to you, you don't want to be alone. There's a lot of areas and a lot of remote areas where people just don't go. And they're great for camping and hiking, but if you're gonna go alone, just make sure you have somebody with you or you let somebody know where you're going. That way you kind of cover your bases and you stay safe out there if something were to happen to you in those remote locations. So keep that in mind if you're going hiking or camping alone. So another thing not to do here in Wyoming is, especially in the wintertime, don't let your fuel run out, because that could be your saving grace, especially in the wintertime. We get a lot of snow, and if you happen to get stuck, I wouldn't want you to be stuck with less than a half a tank. That way it gives you enough time to call and get some help and keep you warm while you're waiting for that help. I always like to keep a couple jumper cables and a big strap in my truck in case I need to pull someone out, or if I get stuck myself and I need to get pulled out. In the winter time, I would not go anywhere without my straps and a couple tie downs, even just to try and help you get out of a sticky situation. So don't let your gas run out in the wintertime. Another thing not to do in Wyoming, we're known for our wildlife. So do not pet the moose, do not pet the bears. Try and stay back away from these animals, as they are wild animals and they can be dangerous. A lot of people go through Yellowstone every year and think, oh, I'm gonna take this selfie with this moose. Bad idea. It never ends well. You might get that photo, but I highly don't recommend you to take selfies with the wildlife, especially the big wildlife like the bears, the mooses, even the deer can come at you and attack you. So another thing not to do is do not harass the wildlife. Don't get super close to them. Keep your distance 100 feet back. And that's in Yellowstone, that's everywhere. So just trying to stay safe out there with the wildlife can ensure that your trip is safe. Another thing I would advise people not to do here in Wyoming, especially in that springtime, late fall, is speeding at dark. I would recommend highly not to speed in the dark anywhere in Wyoming, because you might hit a deer or a moose or anything. The wildlife can get crazy around here, so don't speed in the dark. I always slow it down like 10 miles underneath the speed limit. I live up in Bear River, where that corner right there, it's like a bowling alley for deer. I don't know if you've ever hit a deer before. It's totally different than like a normal car accident. Normal car accident, you're like, oh my gosh, is everyone okay? And like you're like checking on everyone and making sure everyone's cool. But you hit a deer and it's like sheer anger that comes out, like, oh my gosh, why were you in the road? Whoa, why was I speeding? Sorry about that tangent, but try not to speed and you might save yourself an accident with a deer or a moose or elk. So yeah. Don't speed in the dark, especially that dusk time. Watch out for deer on the side of the roads and stay safe out there driving. Another item that you should not do in Wyoming is If you're up here hiking, you're not from around here, and I would not venture off the trails. Wyoming is a very vast place with tons of land, and if you're not used to it, if you're not from here around, you don't have good bearings, avoid at all costs adventuring off any hiking trails that aren't designated hiking trails. You don't really want to get lost out there and not be able to find your way home. So one thing not to do is don't go off the trails. And the last thing, tons of people come here for Yellowstone, so I would not, in Wyoming, visit Yellowstone in those peak summer months. It is just crazy. You're just bumper to bumper. No one's having a good time at that point. I mean, yeah, you can get through the sights and see them, but I wouldn't, in the heat of the summer, those couple months, I would not visit Yellowstone. It's not enjoyable when there's that many people, and maybe I'm just from a smaller town like Evanston, Wyoming, but I wouldn't personally visit Yellowstone in those back to school, right before back to school, where everyone's trying to cram a vacation in all across the world and let's go to Yellowstone, so I would avoid going to Yellowstone. So if you're planning a trip to Wyoming, make sure to do some research, figure out where you're going, the do's and don'ts of where you're going to make sure you have a safe, fun trip here in the beautiful state of Wyoming. If you have any questions, leave them below and have a great day.